90,000 views and over 2,100 comments of people talking about their experience with Pluto being in Capricorn. The suffering that we've all been through. You related to what I went through, and you shared what you went through. Suffering is important. It's part of the experience of why we're here. And I know you don't want to hear that when you're going through the thick of it, but I feel compelled to make this video because reading through the comments on my Pluto and Capricorn video, first of all, I was weeping partly because I didn't feel as alone, and partly because I just felt like, wow, look at all these souls that have come to this place, this dimension, to learn, and look at what some people have on their plate. I'm amazed that some of you survived enough to even get to the point to watch a video and post that. So first of all, I want to say congratulations. You're awesome. And there's got to be a reason for all this. I had like lots and lots of suffering as well. And sometimes it's almost like people don't believe you in your life because it just sounds like you're just almost being like a hypochondriac, but like the life version, and people are like, really? It can't possibly be all that. And you're like, actually, it can. And seeing your comments made me realize I was not alone in that whole entire experience. So I just want to say, first of all, thank you for your comments. Thank you for sharing what you've been through. And thank you for surviving it, because it was not easy. And I'm sure you wanted to not be here many times, and yet you are. And so I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of me. I'm proud of us. Okay, now that I've said that, let me talk about suffering and why I wanted to make this video. If the point, and remember, I don't know, we're all just just talking, right? If the point to life, if one of the points is to refine who we are, get rid of what isn't us, right? Then, if somebody grew up with a lot of money and a lot of security, then their identity and their confidence is somewhat in them, but then also it's in their environment. It's like spread out, because they don't have to keep it contained because their whole environment is so safe and everything's okay and everything's taken care of. Well, when they lose all their money, they have to pull who they are back into themselves. And no one's going to actually just do that exercise unless they lose all their money. Like, you wouldn't have a whole bunch of money and then just decide on a Saturday afternoon to pull all who you are back into yourself. You would only do that if you were forced to. Let's just face it. I mean, all this stuff is the only way we can learn these type of things or do these type of things. Because I know you guys agree with me. Life is energy. Everything's energy. So if we are to refine who we are, just like if you prune a rose bush, every time you prune it and then you take care of it, you also have to take care of the soil. You have to do Epsom salt. In Arizona, we do Epsom salt. Good water, good soil, good nutrients, lots of sunshine. The roses will be big and beautiful. But if you don't prune it, there's a lot of sucker growth. There's a lot of growth that really isn't helping the roses look like really big and full. So getting pruned back is an opportunity to pull who you are into your root system so that the next growth burst you have is very potent. It's very you. And so, to go on a little side note, part of what made the last 16 years so difficult is because I and many others were constantly pruned. As soon as we'd start to even have a bud form, we were pruned back. Or we'd even have a full start to feel good again, the whole thing would be pruned back. And that is very spirit crushing and confusing, because we're meant to bloom. We're meant to be like a plant and grow towards the sun. But if every time we grow towards the sun, we're literally cut back or burned back, it starts to affect your relationship with the idea of growing. So having said all that, I just want to say that every time you suffer, every time you go through something, it's helping your energy go back into yourself. Like friendships. Let me say another one of friendships. I didn't realize that a huge part of my confidence and my identity is in my closest friends. It's good to have close friends, obviously, but there's some people in my life that are no longer in my life, And I realized part of my identity and part of my whole thing was in them. So when that friendship ended, it felt very empty and horrible for me. And some of that's just the pain of the loss, but some of that's because my energy was in them. And now it's been a couple years and I've pulled my energy back to myself. I see now that I did that. I couldn't see that. If there hadn't been a fallout with that friendship, I would have never known that. I would have never even known that. I would have never done that. So I'm inviting you with this video to think about some of the stuff you went through. Not all of it, but some of it. Pick a couple of the low-hanging fruit, things that happened. What did you learn? What energy switch around happened in your life? How were you able to reorganize or remodel who you were when that happened? Death is a little bit different, even though there are lessons in death. I think they're way deeper, way bigger, and some of it I don't think we'll understand until it's our turn to die and have a life review. I don't think all of it's meant to be known while we're alive, but you might know in what ways you've changed your life for the better after experiencing loss. But I just think that one, I personally want to be very careful with that, because I remember when I was going through the worst of it, I didn't like that kind of thinking. It really bothered me, and it actually hurt me a lot. And so I don't even want to kind of go there with that part of it. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to make it worse. But pick some of the other stuff, like maybe job loss, or like I went through a wildfire that went through where I lived. I was evacuated, So pick something like that you can look at and say, what did I learn? And ultimately what it comes down to is, what did you learn to not attach yourself to? In what way did you bring your energy back to yourself and rely on yourself and your connection to your spirituality? Because when everything is taken away from you, that's what you have. You have your breath and your connection to that personality, that energy, that voice that you've always had since the time you were little. That's what you have when you have nothing and everything's taken away. And so I'm just interested in hearing in what ways did you grow and learn and get better out of the stuff that happened in the last 16 years. And then my next video, or maybe not the very next video, but one of my upcoming videos, I am going to talk about Pluto in Capricorn and how that is going to affect, Pluto in Aquarius, and how that's going to affect the 4 signs that are mostly going to be affected by that, but then how that's going to affect the 4 signs, Aries, Libra, Cancer, and Capricorn, that just went through this 16-year thing, and how you can figure out how it's going to affect you specifically. Because the last thing I want to say is astrology is very complex. There's a lot of moving parts. There's houses, there's transits, there's there's a lot. So it really matters with your individual chart. And I'm going to help you with that, because we're going to learn this together. Remember, I told you that. So go get a free birth chart. I think there's like astro-seek.com. Someone said that last night on my live. There's a lot of them. Don't pay for it. Just get your birth chart. But you're going to need to know your birthday, date, time, and location. And your rising sign is the ascendant. That's the sign, that's the planet that was rising on the horizon when you were born. And then your moon it says moon, so you'll see that. But we'll go through it together little bit by little bit. So if you're interested in that, if you're interested in the journey of astrology and learning it from the ground up, as I learn it, sorry, my dogs are making noises. If you want to learn, I'm in a hotel on top of it. If you want to learn astrology from the ground up, I invite you to follow me and we will go through this together. So that's what I want to say about suffering. And astrology is complex. So go get your birth chart done so you know your rising sign. And from there, that was loud. From there, we'll figure it out together. Okay. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll try to get the answers to your questions as I see them. And yeah, I just want you to know we made it. We still have a little bit longer, because today, October 11th, Pluto goes direct in Capricorn until November 19th. November 19th is when it moves into Aquarius. So we just have this little bit of time that we just need to get through, and I'll talk about that in the next video. Hope you guys have a great day. Happy Pluto direct day.